Hello there, a very good evening to you. You're live here on GHOne TV. It's time for News Tonight with me, Natalie, for a look at our top stories. Koforidua Diocesan Bishop takes on the governing MPP and opposition NDC over what he says is their penchant for threatening mayhem ahead of the elections in December. He wants the opposition NDC to suspend their planned demonstration and rather dialogue with the EC for a lasting solution.
We need this more than your so-called power.
Also ahead this evening, stakeholders question role of ministerial ad hoc committee set up by the president to review actions taken to deal with illegal mining. Also ahead tonight, Ningo Pram Pram MP Sam George wants private investors against bidding for abandoned Saglemi housing project.
We will not allow you take that land. The people of Ningo will rise up in righteous indignation and say that the way you've stolen lands in Accra, you won't steal Ningo land.
And in business, Rent Control Department launches digital platform to enhance service delivery. We bring you the details of these stories and much more news here on News Tonight, Tuesday. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. You can watch this bulletin all across the world on Facebook and X at GHOne TV. Let's get started this evening. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has formed a 5-member ministerial ad hoc committee to assess the government's ongoing efforts to combat illegal mining in the country. The committee is tasked with the responsibility of reviewing the effectiveness of the measures implemented to address the environmental damage caused by illegal mining across the country. Now, this comes on the back of several calls from civil society organizations for the ban on illegal mining. The committee, which is led by Minister for National Security Albert Kandapa, will assess the current strategies and policies aimed at halting galamsey activities and recommend any necessary reforms to strengthen the government's efforts. Now, the week has been a busy one as various groups have been on the offensive, demanding action from the government to deal with the activities of illegal miners. Let's take a listen to some of these voices.
That organized labor would urgently embark on a series of demonstrations and a nationwide strike if government fails to address the concerns raised by end of September 2024. Now, we call on all well-meaning Ghanaians to join organized labor and your good self to ensure that this becomes a thing of the past. My brothers and sisters, this is a call which I believe we have joined quite belatedly, but it's not too late. And we believe strongly that with a very strong, coordinated effort, we shall achieve the objective.
We urge the government to prioritize the reclamation of destroyed lands and restoration of polluted water bodies. This process must involve the local communities led by our chiefs and be transparent to ensure the recovery of the environment. We recommend strongly a temporary moratorium on licensed community mining activities now. For whether legal galamsey or illegal galamsey, the effects are the same. And both, at least, must be halted for us to find proper ways before we can start. And this moratorium, if the government or those in authority really love Ghanaians, we are at a critical stage. And if they really love us, then it must be today and not tomorrow.
Well, now the flag bearer of the opposition NDC has also been speaking on what needs to be done to deal with the menace.
Papa. Mendadamo. And so, here kukudro, because One, Senior Mikayan, gold is the one holding Ghana now. And because of Galamsey in Tina, we were 80 tons per year. After year, 135 tons. Additional, Bebre free Galamsey. So we must be prepared to sacrifice in the fight against Galamsey. Say production will come down. It means that exports will reduce. And then also the issue of employment. Because employment in the Enankodani Bebre, Galamsey. Into Okotia Galamsey, a lot of the young people who currently are surviving with Galamsey would also get unemployed. And those are two consequences I'm putting on the table before we start the fight. The risks are worth the effort. The first thing is to make sure, say, forest reserves, omo mining of forest reserves, make us say Forestry Commission, almost 37 forest reserves have been, entered into and destroyed. And the first thing is to get them out. Now, you start to say you do any biome. Then the second thing is and it's different people.
However, the president has directed the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to take steps to deal with the menace.
So the various regional security councils have been tasked to conduct reconnaissance, scrutiny of their various jurisdictions, and begin to roll out suits and enhance the enforcement regime, the details of which I think we all agree I should withhold for the time being. But in the days and weeks to come, we will see a heightened or ramped-up enforcement where we've decided that they should use local resources. In other words, the resources at the disposal of the various RESES, because as you know, the RESES have police, they have military, they have this, they have that. And the regular law enforcement apparatus of the state, the Ghana Police Service, should be the first port of call. If the need arises, we will take it a step further to the armed forces. If the need arises, we will possibly begin once again the extraordinary measure of decommissioning equipment used for illegal small-scale mining. The Minerals Commission is also to double up its reformative measures.
Well, let's stay on this issue a while longer and speak with Nana Boache Chumesi Ankara. He serves as the program manager with Trop and Boss Ghana. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, as you know, this week we've got many groups and organizations calling on the president to deal with Galamsey as a matter of urgency. We had the president's release deploy military and police to handle the situation, and now this 5-member ministerial ad hoc committee. What's your view on these steps taken by him?
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think that the steps that have been taken so far is not enough. And I will say that the government needs to start somewhere. However, we want to see that the committee is not just to keep the civil society organizations that are raising their voice to be heard silent, so that they will do something between them while in actual sense nothing is actually being done. So in my estimation, I would say that it is good that the government has set up this committee with the aim of engaging further the stakeholders and hearing in details and the justifications that go into what the various bodies are presenting for action, and not just setting the committee so that we will think that the government is taking some steps and that ends it. Because we think that the setup of the committee is only a means to an end if actually the menace has stopped. And that is what my position and my that yes, it's good to set up the committee. But then the committee should be set up and their work and go out, the skills of their QR to involve actually engaging the individual civil society organizations and labor groups that have raised concerns so that they know the details. And also some of these are technical people that can give guidance on how some of these strategies to deal with the manage can be done. And so I think that yes, it is a step in the right direction, but it is not enough.
Right, so you say that these efforts being made by the president are insufficient, looking at the magnitude of the issue as it stands. Now, as you know, we've also had calls being made for the president to declare a state of emergency, but the crux of the issue are economic, as was raised by former President John Dramani Mahama, and the issue of employment stands tall. What do you, in dealing with this, the sacrifice has to do with employment. How do you feel like we should handle that? Should we re-engage those who are taking part in illegal mining in other industries to effectively deal with the issue?
Yes, I think that yes, the illegal mining is giving some sort of employment to people, but I will not always support the fact that we have to find employment for the people doing the galamsey before they stop. There are armed robbers in the country. We find them by the security agencies, and we do not go and find employment for the armed robbers before we tell them to stop armed robbery. And it is in the same way I believe that the country should be fighting galamsey because it is a threat to the lives of people, it is a threat to the security of the country. And so we should not think that it's just because people don't have employment. Yes, we will be giving some form of livelihood. But let me mention that there are places that people are actually engaged in some sort of livelihood. Now, you know, when people are doing illegality, the benefit they get usually outweighs what they get in doing legal things, because let's compare just the mining itself. When somebody is doing galamsey, he doesn't pay any tax, he doesn't pay any revenue and royalty to anybody. And so he benefits this so much that if you want to replace it with something legal, this person will have to pay tax. You have to pay royalties and all that. And so people would want to go the free way, want to have things easy. And so we shouldn't always look at it as, oh, when we take them out, they will not have employment. Yes, once it is illegal, let us deal with the illegality. Let us take them out of the galamsey. And then find ways of getting employment for them. And let me say that these two actions are not mutually exclusive. And so we can fight it and still find these and strategize getting livelihoods and employment for the youth of the country. If we sit down and say not until we have found jobs for every single individual in the country, then before we realize you all be dead with the poison of these galamsey activities and all that.
Very well.
So I think the employment country, but there is no way to every single individual among the youth class as well before we do galamsey.
Thank you for your time this evening. Nana Boakye Chumesi Ankara there, maintaining the fact that the steps taken by the president so far are insufficient as it pertains to dealing with the menace head on. You're watching News Tonight here on GH1 TV. Next on the bulletin, we've got Election Hub.
I know you.
welcome back to News Tonight. Now, it's less than 4 months to the 2024 general election. On Election Hub this evening, the Electoral Commission has concluded receiving nominations for presidential candidates for the 2024 elections. So far, 24 out of 33 candidates who expressed interest have filed to contest the presidential elections. Candidates who filed today include the flag bearer of the PNC, Bernard Mona, and independent candidate Sam Ankra, and a host of other independent candidates. Speaking after filing his nomination, Bernard Mona called on Ghanaians to give him the mandate to bring the much-needed transformational leadership. My colleague Obed Kingaglo was there, and this was the engagement that he had with Bernard Mona earlier.
Leading the People's National Convention as its presidential candidate, and obviously to be the next president of the Republic of Ghana. We will comply and conform with all electoral laws, as long as the Electoral Commission will avail itself to ensuring a fair playing ground for all political parties and all aspirants. We have a nation, Ghana, to build. We have a continent, Africa, to protect. It is our duty as citizens of Ghana and Africa to ensure that Africa and Ghana does not suffer any political upheavals that will overturn our democratic credentials. The PNC want to assure all Ghanaians that will confront election 2024 decently, using decent language, talking about the problems that we face and proposing the relevant solutions to them, so that every Ghanaian will get to eat, every Ghanaian will get health care, every Ghanaian will have something for your pocket, every Ghanaian will get the kind of education you want. That the country of plenty cannot be the country where people lack. And so we just want to assure you that we will embark on a robust campaign that will ensure that we don't add to the numbers, we will make the difference. 2024 is our year of make. I thank you.
So there you have it. Today concluded the nominations for presidential candidates at the EC for the 2024 general elections. Now, my colleague Obed Kingaglo was there, and he joins me in studio for more on this. Obed, it's good to have you in studio. So we have, 24 out of 33 finally on the final day. Run us through who filed.
Right. So, Natalie, it has been a day of filing of nomination and marathon for that matter. And since morning, we've been at the Electoral Commission headquarters where candidates trooped in to file the nomination. Only today, 10 of them filed the nomination. So you imagine one after the other.
Right.
But as you mentioned, a total of 24 have been able to file. In fact, there are 25 in all, but one person named Dr. Agnes Aisha, who showed up very late, was not able to file.
She was unable to file because
it is 24
right.
Because though she showed up, she was not able to file. But even with the 24, two of them, though they were able to file, the decision of the EC is that because they also showed up very late and there was some issue with documentation, the Electoral Commission is going to decide whether or not they are part of these 24.
But they were allowed to file.
They were allowed to file. That's how come the number is 24. So let me run you through the people who filed. Of course, the big names you know.
Certainly.
Flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia filed on Monday, followed by Kofi Akpaloo of the LPG, and then also Christian Kwabna Andrew of GHOne also have filed, and also Dr. Hassan Ayariga of the APC have filed. And of course, the flag bearer of the largest opposition party, the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has also filed. Alhaji Mohammed Frimpong of the NDP, and Ikriadonko, we all know Ikriadonko of the Ghana Freedom Party has also filed nomination. And then for the CPP, Nana Akosua Frimpong Sapon Kuma filed, and then Bernard Mona filed today, and then Dr. Daniel Augustus Latte of the GCPP are filed. So these are political parties, flag bearers of political parties. So now let's go to the independent candidates. For the independent candidate, we have Nana Kwame Bediakun, we all know, popularly known as Cheddar, and also Samuel Apia Dankwa, George Chumberima, Kofi Kranting, Alan Tremanting, and also Desmond Abrefa, Nana Stevens, Paul Perkun, James Kwesi Opong, John Pipi, and then Dr. Sam Ankra. And then also Janet Nlabila is also filed Right. And then we have Dr. Amu Dako, and then Kofi Asamoah. Then Dr. Agnes Aisha, as I mentioned, showed up but could not file. And so, interestingly, so in terms of breakdown, in terms of gender, we have 4 women who showed up to file, but only 3 were able to file. So Janet Labila, Nana Kusia Sapon Kuma, and also that of Madam Ekiadonko.
Okay.
So with the exclusion of Dr. Aisha, they were supposed to be 4, but there are 3 females. The rest are all males. So basically, that's the breakdown. So the Electoral Commission is going to scrutinize all the documents that all candidates have submitted.
It's important to share. This is on the final. This is not the final.
Yeah. So the Electoral Commission will announce those who have made it.
Absolutely.
And we definitely some may be disqualified. Yeah. So we are looking forward for that big announcement.
Right, absolutely. Obed Kengaglu, thank you so much for running us through that from the EC earlier today. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Now, in other election-related stories, the Electoral Commission, led by GHOne Mensah, has come under serious flack over its claims that the 2016 voter register contained photos of plants and animals. This follows calls by the largest opposition NDC for the conduct of a forensic audit of the register, citing various discrepancies. The party has also served notice. It would on Tuesday, September 17, descend on all offices of the commission in a nationwide protest to push for this audit. Now, addressing the media to set the record straight, the EC said it is well equipped to correct the errors. Samuel Tete is Deputy Director in charge of operations at the EC.
Perhaps this is the first time the NDC has taken interest in the register. Otherwise, one would have expected them to call for such an audit of the 2016 register, which contained photos of plants and animals representing voters. It is important to note that, contrary to what is being alluded, since 1982, the voters register has never been up. The exhibition exercise enables citizens to verify their details and allows for the unearthing of discrepancies in the register. Additionally, it provides for the correction of discrepancies in the register. This is not new. This has been the practice since 1992. The process of cleaning and strengthening the voters register is well defined by law. We have also noted comments by the NDC to the effect that the very doctor that created the problem should not be the doctor that will resolve the problem.
But the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition NDC, Mustafa Gbande, says the party will go ahead with its planned demonstration. He says the NDC will remain on the streets until the Electoral Commission heeds to their call.
For me, I'm lost, because when else do we call for an audit? They are not saying that the evidence are not germane to the credibility of the register. They are not saying that the evidence we speak to are not factual, but yet they are saying that these matters will be resolved because of exhibition exercise. But our argument has been that because of the dwindled credibility of the Electoral Commission, one, arising as a result of their past record, the incompetence and recklessness they have demonstrated for some time now, it is only fair that we get a neutral body to audit a system that will give all of us the level of assurance that we require to say that the elections, the register is valid, the register is credible, the register is devoid of human manipulations. The document as it stands today, I can tell you, is a manipulated document, criminally intended with the sole purpose of aiding electoral fraud. And what even makes it worse is the deliberate silence of the MPP. And so we will hit the streets. We'll remain in the street until the right thing is done. So if they think that the demonstration is just to come and hand them over a letter, then they should advise themselves, because at some point, if a child refuses to give its parents a slip, the child is
Well, let's stay on this and engage with Dr. Frederick Oduro, serves as a governance expert, joining us on this issue. Dr. Oduro, thank you for joining us this evening. Now, you heard from the Electoral Commission. A number have said that their comments and the posturing of the EC does not speak well of the Commission, specifically claims that the 2016 voters register contained photos of plants and animals. What's your assessment of the EC's conduct and comments?
Well, I don't see the relevance of the 2016 electoral register. I don't see the relevance of that. So I really don't understand the point made with that. In the same vein, I'm also not so clear with the NDC as to what they are complaining about. Right. I think the NDC needs to indicate to all of us clearly what they want. The point is also that going on demonstration might not be the solution to this. But of course, it is a right of the NDC to go on demonstration. It is a democratic right that nobody can take away from them. However, we must concede that there is no precedent to a forensic audit of any electoral roll in the history of the country. Because we need to respect the independence of the EC. However, the EC itself doesn't work for itself. Right. It works for Ghanaians. So it's important the NDC lays out what is actually the problem. The EC must be open to resolving challenges identified. And to ensure transparency, they must involve key stakeholders in cleaning the register if it is found to be full of challenges as is being put across by the NDC.
Right. Now, you say you're not clear what concerns really that the NDC has put forward. They have listed a number of discrepancies that they've observed in the register. And you also say that a protest is not necessary. Do you think that the NDC's posturing and the level of aggravation with the EC looking at the party saying that the register is not fit for purpose, how much of an impact is this likely to have on the elections as a whole, particularly among the followers and supporters of the NDC?
Well, it's only going to heighten tension. And we all know the result of heightened tensions in the election. So for me, the solution to the problem is not posturing. I mean, everybody pretending I can do this, you can do this. As for credibility of the EC, it is not only determined by the NDC.
Right.
There are so many players in the game. So what is necessary is let us clearly lay out what is wrong. If I make an accusation that the voter register is not credible, I mean, the whole EC, the NDC has indicated the whole EC is not credible. So saying the voter register is not credible. But for now, you and I, as bystanders or as outsiders from what the NDC has seen, we cannot actually say the voter register is not credible.
Right.
But that is not to say what the NDC is saying is not true. But what we need is for them to provide the evidence.
Right.
And let us see how the EC itself goes about resolving it. But if it is just that, it is not credible, we cannot trust the EC. The EC is not credible. After that one, it all comes from appointment of the people in charge of the EC.
Right.
The NDC from day one. When you look at GHOne and when you look at Dr. Bosman-Asari, the NDC and some other commissioners, if I may add, they have indicated that they believe they are sympathizers of the MPP, so they cannot be credible. But prior to that, the NDC itself also appointed people from the first INEC through Dr. and other members. They were all appointed of the NDC.
Right.
We couldn't have said another party should appoint them before we accept them. So I think the appointment of the members, as to who appointed them, is not relevant. The point we need to emphasize on is that EC using the right processes. Are they using the right systems to undertake the electioneering process? If they are not, they are going contrary to law. We can take them to court and get them to do the right thing. It is not new. The EC has been taken to court on numerous occasions. Sometimes they won, sometimes they lost.
Absolutely.
So let us use the processes that can get us to correct what is wrong, rather than gamemanship. For me, that was gamemanship.
Right. Now, Dr. Odro, in rounding up, you say that this mistrust of the NDC in the EC is likely to heighten tension, and there is a need to maintain peace, certainly ahead of the elections. Now, is it so difficult for the EC to simply grant the NDC this forensic audit? Would it not contribute to maintaining peace?
No, you see, if there is a need for forensic audit, so be it. We should have it. But my point is that what evidence do you? I mean, I don't mean the NDC. You as a journalist, do you have anything before you for which reason there should be a forensic audit? That's the question we should all ask ourselves. The fact that there is an accusation does not mean that indeed there is something wrong. We should lay out the issues for us all to accept that indeed there is a problem that must be resolved.
All right.
The fact that the NDC has called for forensic audit doesn't mean we should have a forensic audit. But if indeed they give us the evidence we are asking for, all of us must come on board and insist that there must be that audit. And all the remedial actions must be taken. But for now, it is an accusation that has been laid in air. I don't think, if you have any evidence to what the NDC is saying, let us put it out and then we can all insist the EC does.
Dr. Odro, thank you so very much for your time this evening. Dr. Frederick Odro, a governance expert, they're calling for the need for there to be calls for an audit beyond the NDC as a party. Now, in a related development, the Koforidua Diocesan Bishop of the Methodist Church, Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Asari Kusi, has appealed to the largest opposition NDC to suspend its planned demonstration and dialogue with the Electoral Commission.
Two parties won. They are NDC for MPP for. Yes, I'm MPP NDC, give us peace. For the sake of these children, give us peace. We need peace more than your so-called power. More so what we need now is dialogue and not demonstrations. I repeat, what we need now for peace is what? Dialogue and not demonstration. So I call on my brothers MDC. Demonstration will help us. Demonstration will help us. If you have issues, go and sit down with your electoral commission for. They are not perfect. They have mistakes. Iron out, no demonstrations. So demonstrations, we are saying that it has to be called off. Back amen. We don't need demonstrations. We don't need demonstrations at this time.
Now, the Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Samuel Nate George has issued a stern warning to private bidders eyeing the abandoned Saglemi housing project. You may recall that government has begun receiving bids from private developers interested in completing the project, initiated by the former President John Dramani Mahama. Now, reacting to this development after filing his nomination forms at the EC office on Friday, the lawmaker warned bidders to stay off and noted that the NDC will resist any attempt by government to sell the project.
Ningo Pram is a poster boy. Ningo Pram is a poster boy for the failures of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. In 4 years of John Dramani Mahama, he built our people in Ningo gave land for the Saglemi housing project. The Saglemi housing project today remains one of the biggest taints and stains on the legacy of Bawumia and Akufo-Addo.
Those buildings were commissioned in October 2016. It was left with the connection of water pipes and stepping down the high tension to regular home consumption power. There was over $20 million left in the escrow account from the facility from the Brazilian government. It was supposed to be completed in 3 months. It's 8 years on. The Akufo-Addo and Bawumia kleptocracy is looking to sell it to their cronies. They're looking to steal those properties. But let me use this to serve notice to anybody who thinks that they are going to buy the Saglemi housing from the thieves in government, led by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia and supported by GHOne Nkrumah, the Ministry of Works and Housing. The land was given by the people of Ningo to the government of Ghana for the government to build affordable housing. The government did not tell my chiefs and people in Ningo that they were going to sell it to a private developer. The people of Ningo would have sold that land to a private developer if they wanted to. So this is notice to everybody, from the president, who is the thief in chief, Akufo-Addo, to his mate who has learned how to steal better than the master, Bawumia, and to the Minister of Works and Housing, GHOne Nkrumah. He's not even had the decency. Kojo is my very good friend, but he's not had the decency to even have the courtesy to come and meet with the traditional council, the chiefs of Ningo who gave that land, and he thinks he's sitting in Accra and will use executive power to hand over our land to their cronies. Well, I'm issuing a warning to whoever thinks they are going to buy. You buy, buyer beware. You buy at your own peril, because you will not be able to take it on. We will not allow you take that land. The people of Ningo will rise up in righteous indignation and say that the way you've stolen lands in Accra, you won't steal Ningo land.
While Sam George has expressed confidence in retaining the Ningo Pram seats for the NDC, the MP is eyeing 100,000 votes in the December polls. Take a listen.
The focus and the target is to ensure that we get as close to 100,000 as possible. We won the last election with almost a 30,000 margin, and this time we want to make sure that the margin is as big as it has ever been, and that's our focus and that's our target. So it's a lot of work. We have, give or take, about 9.5 weeks to the elections. We are committed to ensuring that Ningo Pram remains a no-go area. So long as the lion is in charge, it remains a no-go area for anybody, especially the NPP. Because the Electoral Commission did the limited registration in a certain manner, it didn't allow for a good number of our people to be able to register, and so currently our register sits slightly above 100,000, and that's why I said we'll get us close to 100,000. The last election we did about 50,000 votes. The margin was almost 30,000, and so this time we're seeing how close we can get. We had a voter turnout less than 70%, so we're trying to see how well we can push our voter turnout to almost 90%, and also ensure that we increase our margins and get as close to the 100,000 on the register as possible. But definitely I am confident this is going to be our biggest victory ever.
Well, certainly more comprehensive election-related news right here on your election hub, GH1 TV, Star 103.5 FM, and across all our sister stations here at EIB in the days ahead. That wraps up Election Hub. In business news this evening, President Akufo-Addo has commended the establishment of the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, under the SIGA Act of 2019, emphasizing its positive impact on the performance of state-owned enterprises, SOEs, and other specified entities. He noted that SIGA has enforced strong governance principles, including transparency, accountability, and integrity, which have significantly improved policy frameworks and enhanced the performance of SOEs. President Akufo-Addo highlighted the rising contributions of SOEs to Ghana's gross domestic product, which increased from 3% in 2020 to 10% in 2024. Speaking during the 2024 SIGA annual stakeholders engagement held in GHOne in the Eastern region, President Akufo-Addo referenced the Auditor General's 2023 report, which showed a substantial reduction in financial losses by SOEs from 14.4 billion cedis in 2022 to 2.6 billion cedis in 2024.
SIGA represents our ambition to see public enterprises operate with the highest standards of governance, integrity, and accountability, ensuring that they serve not just the immediate needs of the state, but more importantly, also create lasting value for the Ghanaian people.
John Boydu, who is the Director General of SIGA, added that prior to SIGA's inception, only 16 out of 175 specified entities had submitted their financial statements, and just 2 had filed audited reports. However, due to SIGA's enforcement of compliance, by May 2024, 147 entities had filed both their audited financial statements and management accounts.
It's not just about the financials of our entities. We are also looking at the environment. We are also looking at how sustainable our institutions will be.
In more business news, the Rent Control Department has launched its new digital platform aimed at modernizing public service delivery and making rental services more accessible to all Ghanaians, marking a significant step towards government's ongoing digital transformation agenda. Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Dr. Prince Hamid Ama, described the launch as the beginning of a bold new chapter in Ghana's drive towards modernization and efficiency in rent.
Speaking during the launch, Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Dr. Prince Hamid Ama, emphasized the critical role of the Rent Control Department in fostering peaceful coexistence between landlords and tenants and ensuring that every Ghanaian has access to safe accommodation. He noted that the digitalization will reverse the trend of many Ghanaians who had to travel great distance only to face lengthy processes.
The launch of the digital platform for the Rent Control Department. This is not just the unveiling of a new technology, but the beginning of a bold new chapter in Ghana's drive towards modernization, efficiency, and inclusivity in our rental housing sector. The department plays a vital role in ensuring that every Ghanaian can have access to safe, adequate, and affordable housing in line with the Rent Act 1963, Act 220.
Chief Rent Manager of the Rent Control Department, Chum Ampofo, also took the opportunity to reflect on the department's journey since its inception and how this digital transformation will help bridge the existing gaps and enhance service delivery. He acknowledged the challenges of the past and expressed optimism about the future, noting that the new system will ensure more efficient and accessible services for all Ghanaians.
As we embark on this digitization journey, we are committed to utilize technology to stream our processes, reduce bureaucracy, and provide user-friendly service. Our goal is to create a more responsive and effective rent control department that serves the needs of all.
With the unveiling of the digital platform, the government has also launched a new website rentcontrol.mwh.gov.gh, a one-stop portal for all rent-related transactions, encouraging Ghanaians to embrace the digital future.
Well, that's all the business news we've got for you this evening here on News Tonight. Do stay with us.
Welcome on to sports, where Ghana's FA Cup champions in Swartreman lost the first leg of the CAF Confederation Cup's second prelim round tie with Algerian side CS Constantine at the improving the second half. They were unable to capitalize on several chances they created. The rest fixture will be played next week in Algeria on Saturday, September 21 in Algiers. So Swartreman have lost by 2-0 in their first leg encounter played here in Accra this afternoon.
By Zakaria Benchar, what a finish! Glorious goal for Constantine to double their lead at the Accra Sports Stadium. That is awesome from Benchar. He's double on the day.
Very sad one for in Swartreman. But don't forget, on Sunday, Samatex also play against Raja Casablanca from Morocco at 3 p.m. on Sunday. Two other stories now. Flag bearer for the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, says his administration will conduct a forensic audit of expenditures on the just ended All-African Games held in Ghana in March. According to him, the current government spending on the continental event is disturbing, as reports by the Auditor General and warrants a thorough investigation. Speaking during a media encounter in Sunyani to climax his 4-day campaign tour of the Bono region, John Mahama indicated that indeed the NDC government would expedite cases of alleged misappropriation of funds in the ongoing or the current government.
We also said we would launch Operation Recover All the Loot. And so we're going to do forensic audits into different fronts. The All-African Games, we're going to audit it. And I mean, how, I've forgotten how many athletes they were, could have eaten food worth $50 million. I mean, nobody can understand, you know, a thing like this. And so I want to see how, I mean, some of the figures you hear, in respect of the whole African Games are astounding. And so we're going to investigate that. We're going to go into PDS. Why did we lose $190 million American funding, for our electricity and power sector? There are many scandals that have been left, uninvestigated because the president is not interested in investigating them. And so we'll investigate them and we'll recover what we can of Ghanaians' money that has been misappropriated. But like I've always said, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. One of the reasons why we lose the anti-corruption fight is because we think that the corruption fight applies only to the regime that has gone out. And so we pursue our political opponents vigorously and investigate them. But then when the same things are happening in our own administration, we turn a blind eye to them. And so I've warned anybody who would end up serving my administration that if the anti-corruption institutions catch up with you, don't expect that I will come and aid you. You are on your own.
Sports segment. Next on News Tonight, we've got entertainment news. On GHOne tonight, the Director for Tourism at the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Jeffrey Tamaklo, has also highlighted the importance of promoting the country internationally to boost tourism and bring attention to Ghana on the global stage.
Yes, the issue of digitalization has actually caught up with us. You can't promote tourism without this. In today's world, we call that armchair tourism. You sit in the comfort of your home and you want to see places. And it's another way, an innovative way of adding up to the revenues. Some people have a phobia of traveling. So that is how you can get that segment of the experience to them and also make some returns from it. So digitalization, we can't let go of it at all. It's rather made our presence felt globally. Previously, when you talk about Ghana, people thought this is a small country in the Caribbean, Guyana. But today, because through the global world website, we're able to project ourselves out there so easily, and through other events such as this and international tournaments and stuff like that. So we can't do away with digitalization in this time and era. We have to rather be stepping up most of the things we do and make them more visible globally to attract more people to our destination, since we are striving to be one of the best in Africa.
That's how we bring a close to News Tonight this evening. It was produced by Musa Lanza, directed by Benini. I am Natalie Fort. From I and the entire team, thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible evening.